Hi there, thanks for joining me once again and Edwards on BizTalk right here. While other companies were in dire straits during the height of the financial crisis, TDM, a plantation company, was in the pink of health. Now, testimony of this was at December 31st, 2008. The company had cash amounting to 131 million ringgit, while borrowings were 4.6 million ringgit. And for 2009, TDM Berhad registered a pre-tax profit of over 77 million ringgit. Now, BizTalk this week takes a special focus on this not-so-smallish plantation company. Let's take a look at this short background.
Incorporated in 1965, TDM Berhad is a state-owned investment holding company of Terengganu and a publicly listed corporation. Its core business operations are in plantation, healthcare and the food industry. The refocus of the group's core businesses follows a re-engineering exercise in 2004 that saw the divestment of its tourism, manufacturing, trading and construction businesses. This contributed to a pre-tax profit of 77.49 million ringgit for the financial year 2009, despite the global and domestic economic meltdown. With this, plantation contributed 79%, healthcare 20% and food 1% to TDM's revenue. The earlier business of the group, the plantation sector, manages 12 oil palm estates with a total of 35,000 hectares in Terengganu. The group has also secured an additional 40,000 hectares in Kalimantan, Indonesia, which is expected to contribute positively to the group's earnings beginning 2000. In addition, TDM owns 2 palm oil mills located in Sungai Tong and Kemaman, Terengganu, with an annual processing capacity of 600,000 metric tons of fresh fruit bunches. In 1995, its food division under TDM Poultry Sdn Berhad was established and is made up entirely of integrated poultry farming. With this, the company yearns to establish the group as a prominent agro-based and halal poultry provider in the local market. The group's interest in the healthcare arena, however, began in 1999 when the first centre was established in Kelana Medical Centre, followed by the Kuantan Medical Centre and the Kuala Terengganu Medical Centre. That's living up to the national agenda in providing community healthcare services to all segments of the population. TDM is Terengganu Development Management, and the group holds the key to the state's progress and financial stability.
Yes, TDM Berhad, a plantation company that's been listed on Bursa Malaysia. The Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange since 1972. It was established back in 1965. Joining me in the studio to tell us more about TDM, its operations and what it is up to is right next to me, Yang Berhormat Datuk Haji Roslan bin Awang Chik, who is chairman of TDM Berhad. Welcome.
Thank you.
And right next to him, Chik Badrul Hisham bin Mahari, who is CEO of TDM Berhad. Welcome, Chik Badrul.
Thank you.
Now, we all know that TDM is involved in plantation, also healthcare and the food business, but is plantation still the core business for TDM Berhad, Datuk?
Yeah, TDM is still the core business as it contributes to the earning as about 74% of our revenue.
That's plantation.
That's from plantation itself. The balance of it comes from the health, and only about 1% comes from the food industries. So the general picture would be that TDM is still the plantation company, mainly on palm oil.
All right. And how much did plantation, Chik Badrul, contribute to the company's income? And that was back in 2009.
It's about 80% of the revenue, 80 to 90% of the revenue comes from the plantation company.
How much was revenue?
And the revenue is about slightly over 300 millions. And traditionally, it has always been like that. So the bulk of the revenue and the bulk of the profit comes from plantation company.
Right. But comparing 2009 and 2008, how did 2009 fare as compared to 2008 for the plantation business of TDM?
Yeah, in 2008, we make a record breaking of a profit before tax was about 144 million. With a profit after tax is about slightly above 100 million. In 2009, we have a profit before tax is about 77 million plus, and profit after tax is about 55 million. The reason of the drop, there are two main factors.
30% drop.
It's about 25%,
25% drop.
40% drops.
And the reason?
The reason, one mainly was in 2008, there was a synergetic approach or effect whereby the price of palm oil at that time reaches to a climax of up to 4,000 per ton. On the average,
in what year, sorry, Datuk?
2008.
2008.
It reaches down to, on the average, of about 2008, 2009 on the whole for 2008. But we also have a synergetic effect on the production. At that time, we have an average of about 19.5 tons per hectare in terms of production. In 2008, there was also a symbiotic effect in terms of the price and production. With the high production in 2008, the agriculturists give us, in fact, throughout Malaysia, there was a stress to the plant. This is something new for me to hear as a chairman of TDM. It was something when we asked, it was a bit surprising that trees are also having stress.
Right.
I thought only human beings are having stress. So with that, we have a lower production from 19 to 16 tons. Overall, again, the price also drops from 2008 or 2009 on the average. It drops to about 2002, 2001.
Due to the crisis.
Due to the crisis. But nevertheless, I must give a compliment to the management. They managed to cut down the cost of production and manage it well enough so that it doesn't fall way below than the expected too much of cut down in terms of production. So these two synergetic effect has made TDM from 100 million after tax to only 55 million after tax. I think with a fair comment to the management, they have done to their best, and we are still proud. Even at 77 million, it is still the second best in our history of TDM.
Great. And despite what Datuk was mentioning about some of the challenges, I understand it's also because there was a shift, right, from the commodity market to equities market in 2009. Is that right, Chik Badrul? These were some of the challenges.
Yes. Challenges to 2009 was a challenge in terms of the pricing, because the price of the CPO went down a little bit. It's also a challenging year because of the productions, so traditionally one bumper crop will follow by a stress, so that's exactly what happened. But 2009 was still a good year for TDM, and it's even better year for TDM in terms of cash flow, because in 2009 we have more free cash flow than 2008. What happened was that in around 2004 to 2005, when we wanted to rehabilitate the plantations, so we took a lot of loans, and then these loans rehabilitate our plantations. It made the plantation better, productions go higher, profit go higher, and then 2009 we finished paying this loan. We finished paying 2009, so about 120 million, and we, our cash flow, about 36 million a year, went back to paying of this loan, and it was free by the end of the 2009. So by April 2009. So
no more loans.
No more loans. So we've got 36 million additional cash. Free cash flow that we can distribute back to the business expansion and distribute back to the shareholders in the form of dividend. So in that aspect, it is still a good year. But even though 2009 was a little bit challenging, but for plantation sector compared to the rest of that, it's still a good year. profit is still very good.
Lucrative.
Lucrative, yeah.
Lucrative.
I would say lucrative and more constant and less risk involved. Of course, we did the technicalities of the agriculturists, but nevertheless, agriculturists on the technical part, we still need the management part. It takes overall a vicious cycle of all to evolve to make TDM as what it is now. It's not just one section by itself. I'm glad that the CEO has performed well, so it's doing well now.
That's a good word for the CEO.
I think because I think our business become still profitable, lucrative is also because of the strategic positionings that we have adopted.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, in the entire value chain of the plantations, from the upstream, downstream, downstream, we only play at the segment, in the middle of it, at the segment of plantations. And historically, and this is the most profitable segment.
At the plantation stage.
At the plantation sites, and the least variations inside. So we don't go to downstream and we don't go upstreams, and we focused on that positions. So that has helped our company to maintain high margin and high earning per share.
Okay, we've just got about a minute before we go for a commercial break. Perhaps, Datuk, you can tell us briefly, what is your forecast for 2010 for the plantation sector?
In forecasting, that would be a limitation for us because we are governed by the BESA. But overall, I could say it is going to be very, very satisfactory.
Okay.
And I think we might outperform. We might outperform 2009 in 2010.
Great. Okay, and also in Chik Badrul, we will come back for more outperform. That was a very good forecast. It's given by Datuk, who is chairman of TDM. And of course, we'll come back on BizTalk right here. We will take a look at some of the other businesses that's involved by TDM, and that this is the healthcare business walkthrough, basically through one of the nearest medical center, and that's the Kelana Jaya Medical Center right here in Selangor. Stay with us.